welcome to the Celia Lee Show. I'm your host, Celia. So today we've got a new guest called Puichi, and we're going to be talking about a topic that I've never actually spoken about, and it's identity and racism sort of thing, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, before I speak any more, why don't you introduce yourself, what you do, where you're from, and all that.
Hello. So my name's Puichi, as Celia just said. I am an EA based in London. I've always lived in London, and I work full time. I'm a mum. My son is mixed race, so this is where the issue of racism can raise its ugly head sometimes. And I mean, as we go into the show, you probably hear more stuff will come out.
So I want to talk about identity, but you have a podcast called
I do,
called Not Your Typical Chinese Girl. So first of all, tell me what is a typical Chinese girl in your
The reason why I titled my podcast Not Your Typical Chinese Girl is I used to always get told, "Oh, you're not a typical Chinese girl, are you?" And it kind of made me feel like, hang on a minute, what is that? So I kind of looked into it myself, and actually I'm not. The typical Chinese girl for me is someone that is very submissive, but almost to the point where they do everything that other people want them to do. Even though they've got a mind of their own, they're almost afraid to speak up. And that happens a lot with the Asian culture, particularly Oriental culture. Now, Cilia and I have both grown up with our Chinese parents and a brother. I'm not sure about you, but, especially in my family as well, there were things that were expected of me because I was a girl, a Chinese girl in the household. And as a Chinese girl growing up in the Western society, it was things that I kind of didn't agree with. I was resistant to it, and I spoke up about it a lot, which my poor mother, bless her, struggled to resonate, and we didn't have the best of relationships. However, I still stand my ground because I'd rather actually own my own identity than let my identity be governed by, say, my parents or my auntie or other Chinese people around me who I might think might judge me.
I know. I definitely agree with all of that. But I was going to say, when you said, you're not the typical Chinese girl, I was going to say, yeah, definitely you're not the typical Chinese girl. To be honest, I never even thought of what's a typical Chinese girl, but maybe because a lot of people would say, Chinese people are really quiet, like you said, very quiet. They don't speak up for themselves. Chinese girl probably be like, shy and that. I don't know. I don't really know what a typical Chinese girl is, to be honest with you. But that being said, I know I'm not the typical Chinese girl either.
Is it. I know you're not either.
Yeah. But it's definitely because I think people expect us, for example, let's say, all Chinese people think all Chinese people have a Chinese takeaway. Well, we're good at
fact.
Maths. Yeah, we're good at maths.
Not fact.
Yeah, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm not good at it, but I'm just not like. I couldn't.
Oh my God, I'm awful at it.
Yeah, like I couldn't do like further maths, all of that. Yeah, that would kill me. Or what else is there? The other stereotypes that we always into our books. Straight A student.
Yeah,
I'm not a straight A student. My A levels, I almost failed my A level.
Did you?
Yeah, I almost failed it.
Okay.
Yeah. I went through clearing when it came to uni.
Well, this is it. And you went to uni, didn't you, in the end?
Yeah, and
hard slog.
Yeah, but the way I dress, the way I speak,
this
and
is it.
Just I guess it's the way you are.
The people you hang around with. Why have you not got any Chinese friends? And it's like, well, because I don't. I do.
I do.
But I just choose. Well, you don't just. It's hard to explain. It's like, I don't pick my friends based on their race.
Yeah.
But I guess Chinese parents don't understand. Chinese parents don't seem to understand that. So why don't you hang around with Chinese people? Yeah. It's like, sorry.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in North. So when we first came to England,
where was you born?
Hong Kong.
Okay.
So I came here when I was 7. When I first moved over here, we lived in Harrow. And then from there kind of moved into North London. So I've always grown up around kind of like Tottenham and Wood Green.
Yeah.
And then bought my own place in Enfield about 7 years ago. But yeah, having been raised in a multicultural society, it was less obvious for me what, it was more obvious to me that I wasn't a typical Chinese girl that I would see at Chinese school, at church.
Did you go to Chinese school?
I did, and it was awful.
Where'd you go?
I went to one Chinatown.
Oh, I went to the one in Holloway.
There was one there as well, and then when we moved to Walthamstow, we went to one in Walthamstow.
So you moved around a lot.
Yeah, we moved around a lot. But this is what
how was it? Okay, how was it growing up? Like, I can tell you mine after, but like growing up, okay, no, you just came to the UK. Did you speak English?
No, not a word.
How was it? How was that experience for you?
Do you know what? I'm just grateful that I had my brother with me. Because had I come here with my mum as the only, and my mum and dad as the only child, would have absolutely felt the struggle and isolated. I think because I had my brother with me, and we both didn't speak English, I had what's that word? Almost a comrade, someone I could just rely on, and somewhere along the way. I mean, I couldn't tell you at what point we both started picking up English. It was like a snap, and suddenly we were just talking English. Up until that point, we had our own language.
Yeah, I came. Also, I was born in Sweden. Came here when I was 7. Yeah. I spoke Swedish and Cantonese. So I didn't speak English.
Do you still speak Swedish now?
I know random words.
Oh my God,
but I couldn't have a conversation. I couldn't understand. I could recognize the language, but I can't speak it anymore. My mom can still speak it.
That's so good.
She can get by, but she's not as fluent, but she can get by.
That's good. That's amazing.
But when I came, I went. I don't even remember how I picked up English.
Well, when you're little though, with no other stress, you are like a sponge, which is why. Languages are so much easier to learn when you're younger.
Were you scared? Like being, oh my God, like, well, hold on. Was there any Chinese people in Harrow, first of all? No Chinese people, okay.
Apart from...
I grew up in primarily, like, white areas.
Yeah.
So, not many Chinese people.
But I wasn't scared or even the thought of racism or the thought of people not taking to me because I was Chinese.
Same. I didn't have that.
No,
I didn't have that. It's more like oh my God, who are these people? They speak English. Yeah, I think when you're young, racism
it doesn't register. It's not a condition. It's things that my parents never taught me about. You're different to other people, and because in Hong Kong as well, particularly in Hong Kong, there's a lot of Indian people.
Yeah, there is.
There's a lot of Indian people.
For those who don't know, there's like probably 3 generations of Indians. They actually speak Chinese, Cantonese.
Better than me and you, I think, exactly. Put together.
They can write and read. And there's even a news reporter that's, is she Pakistani or Indian? But anyway, she's like, have you seen her?
No.
She speaks perfect Cantonese. She's a news reporter.
Really?
Yeah, and there's also actors.
Yeah.
So, but where in Hong Kong did you grow up?
I grew up in Shang Shui, which is like the New Territory.
Oh,
in Shang Shui.
Okay. Yeah. My parents. My
but there was, is it?
My dad's from Golden.
New Territory. Yeah, so they're all in the New Territory kind of thing. But when you're growing up in Hong Kong, because India was a British colony as well, you get accustomed to being around people that don't look like you. So when I came here, again, there's in Harrow, there's a very big Indian community.
I know. I'm surprised about that because I would have thought you coming from Hong Kong, but it's fun that you mentioned about India. So, I would have thought, although the because Sanso is quite,
there's
a lot of Chinese people still. So I was thinking I would have thought you'd be, oh my God, like all these different races, something like that. Whereas in Sweden, I didn't grow up with Swedish people. Where I lived in Sweden was like Edmonton, full of Turkish people. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I went to school with all, and 90% were Turkish people.
Oh, wow.
Turkish. Only probably like 1% was Swedish or Finnish. Yeah. And so
actually Scandinavian people were the minority.
Yeah, in the area I was in. But the area I was in, and there was quite Chinese people was like a handful of Chinese people. There was like, Iranian. We had that mainly Turkish. I think there was Cypriot as well.
Quite very multicultural.
Yeah, very multicultural. So where I grew up was very multicultural.
Yeah.
So me coming to England wasn't like, oh my God,
this is it.
This is it for me. Yeah, so it was fine. But however, also by the way, just want to clarify to people, like, I'm not trying. This episode is I just want to raise awareness of, like, I just want to share our experience. It's not to put any hate on white people or anything like that.
Yeah,
I just want
it's
to
not about that.
So, but afterwards, when I first came, I actually was in Essex.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Essex. Well, when I say Essex, Hertfordshire, Essex kind of area. I was fine in the primary school, but then when we moved house to where we are now, and then I moved to new school, a Catholic school, I could not get on with anyone there for some reason. I don't know what it is. It's a shift of energy, but I just felt I was an outsider.
Right.
And just from that point onwards, so it's from year 4 onwards, I struggled with my identity. And it gone to secondary school. I had friends at a time, which are no longer my friends now. I wouldn't call them my friends. Yeah. But at the time, they were friends growing up with. They were white. Because my school was primarily white people. But they made me feel uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. They would question me like, oh, I still remember to this day, they was like, Celia, how do you feel about being Chinese? Yeah. Are you proud to be Chinese?
What kind of question is that?
Yeah, thinking back now, these people actually were somewhat racist.
Absolutely.
You know? Yeah, so because of that, it made me feel... I didn't register it being racist. It's more like I was thinking, nah, I don't want to be that Chinese. I was struggling, although... I would go in Chinese school every single Saturday. I freaking love Chinese school. Yeah. And the reason is because I didn't feel a belonging in this during the week with like the kids in my school. Yeah. But going to Chinese school, although it's because it's Chinese people, but I felt belong. But not only that, it's because I was going to Holloway. It's more multicultural. I felt more at home. Yeah. So as I was growing up now, I actually was hanging around more with my friends from King's Cross. Well, there's like Chinese people from King's Cross, all that from the ends basically, and when you hang around with certain people more, like even the way you speak is influenced by them, right?
Completely, yeah.
So, in my school, there was people like, Celia, why are you speaking like this? Like, why are you speaking like a chav? Or like they call it chav, but because you start using slang, they think that's so chav or whatever and like that. And then it's like, why are you talking gibberish? And that's saying,
using slang words, urban slang.
Yeah, but the thing is, for me, it was just so natural because I'm so used to around these people. So, but I didn't feel. But whenever I was in school, I felt an outsider.
That's really, and that's really quite sad because there's a lot of people out there, with whatever race, that if you go to a certain area that's predominantly, a white or an Asian or whatever, there was always going to be someone that's going to feel like an outcast because they don't conform to their set of standards. Yeah. Because it is funny you say that, because I personally probably have had backhanded comments made that I didn't think at the time was directly racist or anything like that.
What did they say? Things
like, I get it a lot even now, and I still don't. I mean, I don't know if you agree with me, but what I get a lot is, especially when I speak on the phone to someone, and then they meet me in real life.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
They will say,
I know what you're going to say.
You don't sound Chinese at all. I thought you were like white from Essex. And it's like, sorry, I'm not quite sure how to respond to that because thank you, no thank you.
Yeah. I have so many stories, things like that. For example, like, so my parents have takeaways business.
So you're the stereotype.
Yeah. So I fit that in that stereotype. So for example, sometimes I'll answer the phone. They'll be like, "Oh," I remember one time I was like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting this. I expected someone with an accent." I did not know how to respond. I was just like, "Okay." Another time was like, it's an older, like I think he was about 70, whatever. Because I'm saying, like, with the older generation, their public mindset's different. Anyway, I answered the phone, and because he was mumbling, or maybe he was just talking so far, I couldn't hear him. So I was like, "Oh, sorry, can you repeat that, please?" And he was like, "Can you understand me? Do you understand English?"
Like, the louder they speak, the more you'll understand them.
And I was just like, "Yes, I do." you know, things like that, and or things like. Oh my god! Now talking about Chinese takeaway, there's actually so many funny stories. They you know, you get people that they will argue with you. This is not special fried rice.
It's like,
And I'm
what?
like, you do realize you're arguing with a Chinese person here
Who created the special fried rice?
Or they will argue about certain dishes. Like, I go to Chinatown every single weekend to have so and so food. This is not it. And I was like, well, I grew up eating Chinese food.
I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly, things like that. And people will be asking us, not even just a takeaway, it could be even in workplace, because I used to have a Vietnamese friend.
Yeah.
Have people feel like, are you two sisters? Right? And this is how I don't know how I'll respond to that. I'll be like, no, but I know we Asian people look the same in it, so I
It's
get it.
so bad,
And then I'll purposely do it because I think it's funny, and then they'd be so awkward. They'd be like, oh no, I don't mean it that way. I'm just asking.
Honestly, if we were to really look back at some of the comments, you and I probably write a book on comments that's been made. That actually there's a little bit of connotation of racism to it, or at least
ignorance.
Ignorance,
as well.
yeah, absolutely.
And also, I remember back in school. So me and this girl, we had the same surname, Lee, and we happened to always be together. We're hanging out.
You must be sisters.
Yeah. So there's someone was like to us, "Are you two sisters or related?" I was like, "No," and then he goes, "But you two have the same surname and always hanging around with each other." And I said, "Yeah, but what about Sarah and James?" This is just made up names. Sarah and James, they've got the same surname, so are they related? And then they go, yeah, but that's different. So why is it different? Because we're Chinese?
Why is that different?
Yeah, exactly. So things like that. So I used to get like these ignorant. I wouldn't call them racist. I just think it's ignorance.
It is
A lot of ignorance. Ignorant comments. And another one. You know, when SARS back in the days.
Not just SARS, COVID.
Yeah,
the whole COVID situation.
I remember in school, I was in geography lesson, and this guy, this boy in front of me, turned around, was like to me, "Do you have SARS?" And that right, thinking about it now is funny because how dumb, like, what kind of dumb shit is this, you know? And I just looked at him. I'm like, I actually did say that. I said, "Are you dumb?"
Yeah.
I actually said, "Are you dumb?" I kept repeating that,
so
and he was a bit shocked of my reaction. He was just like. It's sort of like, you know,
so
what to do,
much
just
ignorance,
and then the teacher could sense the energy, and then the teacher sent him out of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you a funny story that happened in COVID, right? It was like during the time when lockdown was kind of over and people were getting back on the tube with a mask and everything. And I got onto the Jubilee line. I was at Canary Wharf and I got on the Jubilee line to go to Stratford to get the train home. And not even joking, there was a seat next to her. So I sat down. And as I sat down, she edged so close to her side, the other side of her chair, to the point where half her bum cheek was the only thing left on that chair. So I looked across at me. There was a man sitting there with a newspaper looking at this woman like ignorant, like just complete ignorant. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do it. So I pretended to cough really loudly. And
I
was
love
like,
that.
And the man opposite me burst out laughing. This woman moved so fast she actually fell off the chair. Everyone on the tube was just looking at her because ultimately what she did was embarrass herself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, yes, love, there is COVID. No, love, I'm not the COVID carrier. You know, do you know what I mean? Like, get out of that mindset.
Yeah.
But I wanted to play a trick on her, and then she ended up on the floor, and I went, "Would you like a hand?"
Did you do that?
Yeah, I went, "Would you like a hand?" And she was just like, But the man opposite me was pissing himself, laughing, and then because he was laughing, I laughed.
Yeah.
And then other people in the train carriage started laughing. But yeah, that was probably the only time I experienced kind of like.
That is racist, though.
That is racist. That is like straight up, you know. This is where it came. This is where I've read the media said it came from. Therefore, because you're Chinese, you're the virus carrier or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what? Get your facts right, mate.
Yeah. Actually, no, it is a bit of ignorance as well. Actually, because
It's ignorance.
It's a bit of both.
It's a bit of media scaring,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
they're completely bought into the hype.
Yeah.
without really getting the facts right.
But anyway, going back, so you growing up, did you have struggle with your identity? Like I
Not so much. Do you know what? My identity struggles wasn't with the fact that I was Chinese. It was more to do with the fact that I was trying to almost compete with my brother. Now, in our society, in our culture, there's a very massive emphasis on the male. The male often get favoritism.
Really?
Yeah.
I know that, but not with my one.
I mean, and so I was forever competing with my brother to the point where I did lose my identity. I forgot who I was because I was trying to do things that he was doing. Like, he was doing this, so I must do this. He's going to uni. I must go to uni. He's doing this amazing thing with his life. I must do this amazing thing in my life. And suddenly I was like, that isn't me. What am I doing? And why am I competing with my brother? But I was competing with my brother for my mum's attention, for my mum's respect more than anything, because I really genuinely didn't feel like I had it. It was always, oh, your brother this, your brother that.
Is your brother older?
No, he's younger. Okay. He's younger by 11 months. And I am very proud of him. He's a primary school teacher. He's got a lovely family now and everything. But then it got to the point where I just thought, you know what? Nothing I do is going to put me in the same position as my brother with my mum. I'm just going to be myself.
Yeah.
Took me a long time to get there.
Yeah. I think also, the culture's like there's a lot of expectation, especially as the oldest as well, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I was expected to take care of all the family affairs.
Yeah.
I was expected to take over all the family admin.
Oh.
Whereas, I remember at 18 years old, only reason why I went to uni and moved out was because I just needed a bit of freedom. My brother was allowed to do whatever he wanted, go out with whoever he wanted until God knows what time. Me, I had a curfew at 18 years old. To be home by 6 o'clock because I had to work. My mum and dad also had a Chinese takeaway. But I was expected home to work in the shop.
How long did you work there for?
I was 14 to 16.
I worked there from the age of 14 as well.
Yeah, 14.
But did you work in the kitchen?
No. I'm in the counter.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm in the counter.
But I was only working for weekends there.
No, I worked every night.
Really?
Yeah, like if I didn't have homework, I would do my homework at the counter, whereas my brother would be upstairs in the bedroom, giving all the time and opportunity to study.
Oh, so you lived above the shop?
Yeah, we lived above the shop.
Yeah. That is a stereotypical scenario. We
It was
we weren't like that though. We had a house and we actually travelled into it.
It was one of those things where my parents thought, well, we might as well just live above the shop and save some money, Convenience as well. But no, my brother had a tutor as well. So whilst he's upstairs getting the best education possible, I'm downstairs serving customers and doing my homework at the same time. But I still really craved for my parents' attention, even from that moment on. And I lost myself a bit. I didn't know who I was. I felt uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable at family dinners because it was always about my brother and how well he's doing. I always felt like the black sheep almost because I was the different one. I was the outspoken one.
Yeah, me too. There's always a black sheep in the family.
Always a black sheep.
Yeah, same. Because
it's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, my mum's side, everyone went to uni there. My mum's side. So it's like a pressure that you have to. If you don't, my mum would be embarrassed that I don't. If I don't.
Yeah.
So I pretty much go in uni because of that. Because like we were saying earlier, we don't actually, a lot of the time certain jobs you don't even need a degree, to be honest with you. But my dad's side more laid back. They're more like down to earth, humble, and no one went to uni apart from me and my brother from my dad's side. However, I did do my masters because of my dad, because I wanted to make him proud. I wanted to be the first person in his family to have a master's. To
go the whole way.
Yeah.
Right?
So the pressure, to go uni, but I was not a straight A student, like I said. I went through clearing, so my mum didn't talk to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
When she knew when she saw the results of my A level, she was like, "Oh, I'm so embarrassed by you. What am I going to say to family?" Like Chinese culture, they really care what
other people
think. And now that's the thing, that talking about being black sheep, I don't give a fuck what people think. No. And my mum actually said this to me. She was like, she said to me, how can I be like you, not caring what people think? or just be you so confident? I said, Mum, I don't care what people think. I actually don't.
Yeah.
And so you care about, like, for example, your brothers, but all of that kind of stuff. I don't care. Don't get me wrong. I still have that Chinese value where you respect elders. I do have that. But I don't care.
But that's different to caring how they feel about you and needing validation from them about you.
Yeah, and I was saying this to someone, Chinese culture, we weren't taught about self-respect. We were taught about to respect elders. Yeah. Even if they're wrong, you still got to shut up, right?
Yeah.
I get that. However, for me, I'm not that I would backchat or anything, but I wouldn't go the extra mile to please someone if I don't
you just wouldn't pander to them, would you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't. But this is what I mean. There are Chinese girls and Chinese boys even that will do that would really pander to the elderly, because as long as they put in a good word in for that person, you are like golden child. You know what I mean? Golden child.
Oh my God. So my mum's side, one of my cousin, he's got a PhD at Cambridge.
Of course.
He was like the golden child of my granddad used to love him. He was like the favourite grandchild, and me was just like, because I'm a girl, and I was just like, in fact, he used to say that I was a bad influence to my other cousin.
Yeah.
So I have this other girl cousin, her name's Colette. We were really close. We were same, but she was 6 months older than me. She's 6 months older than me, and she's still in Sweden. But we used to go to Hong Kong, we meet up during some holidays, we used to go out together. My granddad used to be like, I remember one time, I don't know what I did, but we must have gone, but we always go out late anyway, regardless. I don't give a fuck what people say. They always say, oh, why are you always out so late? And I don't care, I still do it. But anyway, I remember my granddad was like, he did this to me, he was like pointing in my face, you are a bad influence to Colette. I'm actually worried that you make her go bad. But she's older than me. Bearing in mind she's older than me, okay?
Yeah, you're such a wizard that you can make someone older than you go bad.
And then I just looked at him, I was just like,
it's crazy. I mean, look, but flip reverse, I've also had many comments made about Jacob from Chinese people because he's mixed race.
So when you say mixed race, clarify.
My son is half Chinese and half British Caucasian. So he's, half white, half Chinese. And when I obviously got pregnant, the first question from every Chinese person was, is the dad Chinese? And I was like, no, he's not. Anyway, once Jacob arrived, and I'd take him to Hong Kong. So he's 14 and he's been to Hong Kong 4 times. Lucky sod. But he's been to Hong Kong 4 times. And every time we go, because where we grew up is a village, they just stare at him, or they feel the need to touch him to see if he's real. I had a lady who we all call Gu. So in Chinese, if you've got the same surname, because growing up in a village, everyone had the same surname. We're Hao. It's a Hao clan, and so I have to call it Gu Zhe, which is, it actually really means auntie of the. It's a paternal auntie. So
Gu Zhe is
the auntie of the dad's side.
That's our side.
The dad's side. Yeah. But because they've got the same surname with me, I don't know them from Tom, Dick and Harry, but I have to call them Gu Zhe. Yeah. Anyway, this Gu Zhe came up to Jacob and said, "Can I touch him?" I'm like, "Huh? Come again?" But it's because he is very, very fair skin. You know, he's got the very light hair features. He's darker now, but when he was younger, he had really light undertone hair, like blonde and stuff. So people didn't think he was real, but it was the fact that I came over and started pinching him and touching him. I just thought,
it's kind of embarrassing, you know.
It is embarrassing and ignorant. But, you know, we've had as well, like, you know, you asked me on the way here about is Jacob identify more with Chinese or English. And he is mixed. He is half and half because for him, he has the values that I was raised with as a Chinese girl. But at the same time, I encourage him a lot to find his identity.
So when you was in school, did you ever get bullied for being Chinese? But to be honest, the way you are, I don't think you got bullied. You might bullied them.
Right, okay, true story. And I think it's that experience that made me who I am, you know.
What experience?
So, year 7, I did get bullied. I went to a school in Hornsey, and I went to a Church of England school where it was predominantly, and again, I'm going to, just remind everyone that what Cilia said before about this show not being like a hate thing or against any kind of race or coloured people.
Sharing experience, basically.
Exactly.
I think people should be aware of
what can happen.
Yeah.
First year of secondary school, I picked the school because it was close to me, and my best friend from primary school was going there.
You picked it?
I picked it with my mum. Well, my mum. I said to my mum I want to go there because my best friend at the time, Eleanor, was going there.
Yeah.
And then my friend Eleanor went to this school, and when she started, she knew so many people. Like there was a massive Greek community, Greek Cypriot community, and she just left me on my own and ended up being friends with all these other Greek Cypriot people that she went to Greek school with on the weekend. So that was the first time I ever really felt scared about anything, because I was like, I'm actually in a really big school on my own, and there was no other Chinese people there. I don't remember any other Chinese people. There might have been, but I don't remember.
Also, because secondary school, when you go to year 7, it's a big jump from primary to secondary school, isn't it? So it is scary.
Overwhelming. And I remember in my class, I was the only Chinese girl. I think I was the only Chinese girl in the school. But it was then predominantly black people. And there was one guy in the class called Edro. I remember his name because I thought he was so lovely. Yeah. He took a liking to me. And the group of girls in my class found out, didn't like it at all. They thought that it was me trying it on him. Bear in mind, this is year 7. I'm what, 11, 12? How old am I?
I was a baby as well.
Right.
You're babies.
So, first of all, I wasn't interested in Edro that way, in any way, shape or form. It was definitely a friendship. He was like my ally. I found an ally. But it just happened to be a boy that the other girls fancied. And I remember very clearly towards the end of the school year, when I had been bullied through this time, I used to run home every day after school. So I felt like I was going to get beaten up. But towards the end, it was too much. It was literally, I remember being we had a massive playing field. It used to be a school called D&K in Hornsey. And I remember being in the playing field, and I'm not even joking when I tell you that I was stood there and let 6 girls slap me one by one. I allowed it to happen because I was scared. There was nothing else I could do. They had me cornered. But they slapped me because they thought I was stealing their man, because he was a black boy.
Wait, 6 girls?
One by one. One by one. Push, 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 push. And I went home that day with the biggest red mark on my face. And my mum cried because my mum felt helpless. Obviously, these are days before mobile phones as well. It was all landline. Somehow, one of the girls had my home number and called me up and asked me if I was okay.
The one of them who slapped you?
One of them who slapped me called my home number. Yeah, and said, "Are you okay? I'm so sorry." So it showed, what that demonstrated to me, though, was that not everybody is bad. Everyone at that age, it's all about peer pressure, isn't it?
Yeah, so they did it because the
her
leader,
friends were doing it.
The leader did it, yeah.
She didn't want to be the one to get picked on otherwise, so she had to do it. So that gave me a bit of faith in humanity, even though I hated them. The fact that she called me didn't make it okay, but it made me understand a little bit more that actually sometimes people do things, especially at that age, when all you want to do is fit in, impress your friends. But that was the only time. And then when my mum and dad told me that they bought a takeaway in East London and we were moving, and I knew that we would be starting a new school with my brother starting also in year 7, I just made a promise to myself that I would never get bullied again. And over my dead body, if anyone ever bullied my brother. So I didn't turn bully, but in the summer, I just grew in confidence. I spoke up. I was mouthy more than anything. I think that's what got me kind of staying out of trouble. You know, and I would be the first one to pipe up if someone else was getting bullied. But yeah, I did get bullied. It was awful. And it wasn't...
But was it with racism, though? It was...
No. But racism never really... I used to go to pubs in Essex all the time. Only Chinese girl in a pub full of, like, Caucasian white people.
So do you like pubs then? You're about the pub life?
Not anymore.
Okay, I never liked the pub. I'm not.
Did you not? Gosh, love a beer garden. Love a beer garden.
I think this is the difference between me and you. There, I think we are both westernized, not typical Chinese girl. But I never liked the pub life.
Did you know? I loved it.
I don't find. I'm very girly. When I say girly, I mean like sporty girly, if that makes sense. But I just find that going to pub is not very good. It's like, the beer. That's like.
I went to pub and had gin and tonic and vodka,
Okay.
and like I had white spirits and kept ladylike.
Yeah.
But I just loved that aspect of socialising.
I like going bars, like clubs. But
and cocktails and stuff.
Pubs, nah, not really.
I loved all that. I loved all that, going to pub first and going clubbing after, then having a hangover the next day. I did that for a number of years when I was younger. As soon as I kind of moved out and I knew that I was going to fail uni, I had to move back home. But by then, I was like, I'm earning my own money. My mum and dad can't say nothing. I'm going out. That's when I started going clubbing and pubs and stuff. But I'd walk into a pub in like Chingford or whatever, and people was turn and stare. Don't get me wrong, because I am it's like only Chinese in the village, kind of thing. Yeah. But never made me feel out of joint or anything like that. It's weird.
Talk about being black sheep. So I think people would want to know, because your son is half white. Do you only date white guys? Have you ever dated Chinese guys?
No. Okay.
Have you ever dated Chinese guys? Is that no to Chinese? Okay.
No to Chinese guys.
Why?
Preference, isn't it, babe? There's nothing to do with the.
I'll tell you about me.
I just don't find them attractive.
Yeah, so I'll tell you about me. Yeah, I've never dated a Chinese guy either. I don't get actually. When I was younger, I did find him attractive. So do you remember? Are you into Chinese music?
Actors?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah. So like, for example,
not like.
Do you remember Edison Chen?
Yeah.
So I used to freaking love Chang
Yeah.
Like that's like, he was so good looking, but growing up, I just like grew out of it.
But he was very westernized. He was very hip hop and stuff.
That's probably why I liked him.
Yeah, he had that American hip hop influence on him. You know.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? The people that I had, the celebrities that I actually had a crush on, they were always very, very nice. Like Daniel Wu. Oh my God, he was so sexy. Like
even now, Jackson Wang, like Jackson is American, straight Chinese.
Who else? But then as I got older, but I've never actually, although I had these crush, but I never actually dated a Chinese guy. Reason being because. I think it's being a bit too much. Too much, and I'm too much for them.
Yeah. This is it.
I'll tell you actually two experiences. What put me off Chinese guy fully? Yeah, one time was when I was in uni.
Yeah,
I had these Chinese nights. Oriental nights, we call them Oriental nights.
Yeah, oh my God, did you have to at your uni?
Yeah, so
Jesus.
Anyway, so then there was a boat party called Abacus. I don't think it
I remember Abacus.
Yeah, oh my God, we was our age. But anyway, so I went to this with my Chinese friends. We went there, and then we saw a mutual a friend that we knew, but she's from another uni. She was with her friend. So then me and my friend went there to just say hi, and she was like, "Oh, come, have a drink with us." So this guy now is from her group. Poured me a champagne. Like, here you go. I said this as a joke, okay? I said to him, I was like, I said in Chinese, I said, did you spike this? Like in Chinese, as a joke though. Like, I basically said, in one year, girl. Like that in Chinese, like, as a joke, like, did you spike it? As a joke. And he was like to me, he looked at me like, he said in Chinese, he goes, if I was to spike your drink, why would I spike your drink? If I was to spike a drink, I'll spike hers.
That's rude.
Yeah, in that moment, I'm just like, I just laughed it off and I was like, okay, like that. And I just left, yeah? That's the first one. Second one now, we had this group of us, like back in uni, there was a Korean, there was like some Chinese, Vietnamese, whatever. And this Korean guy, I used to just literally flirt for bands. Just funny. It was funny. Anyway, and then my friend who's Chinese, he goes to me, why do you keep flirting with me? Like, I said, I'm joking. And that he goes, I know, but you're not his type. I was like, what do you mean I'm not his type? Like, in my head, I was thinking, I'm everyone's type, man. We're talking about.
Innit?
And then after this, he goes, because you're not the cutie type of girl.
Yeah.
Cutie type of girl. And I was like, what do you mean? He goes, let me show you. And he showed me like these Korean like cute like.
Yeah.
Like that. And that's when he goes, that's his type. And that's when it was that from that point onwards, I was like, I'm never going to... I know
Yeah.
I'm not that type of girl. I'm not the anime, cutesy type of girl. So
Yeah, the star in their eyes kind of.
Yeah, like...
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, like that Chinese guy won't. That's when I decided Chinese guys are not attracted to me.
Yep.
And also, as I got older, I actually realized I like manly, really masculine men.
Yeah, this is
a
it.
majority of, no offense to our Chinese men, you just don't have. They just well, there are some, but most of them just don't have that masculine essence I like in a man. So, but each to their own. Some women like,
Yeah.
certain type of
It's harder for us because what we look for, it doesn't come in the Chinese men that we will come across in this country. If we were both in Hong Kong, living our life in Hong Kong, might be different.
Yeah, we probably would go for...
We probably would, because there are very good-looking Chinese men out there. But similar to you, I actually think they are scared of me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we're outspoken, because we speak our mind, we're not cutesy ditzy, you know.
I always
we're not that.
I always say to people, like, when people ask me, "Why don't you Chinese girls?" I always say because they can't handle me.
Yeah, they can't
Literally,
handle.
they can't
Honestly,
handle me.
to be fair, not many men can probably handle women that are outspoken and have their own ideas. There are men out there that can do that and will do that. But I just, when I, like, it's going to sound really weird, but my brother is, again, not a typical Chinese boy from what I observe from him, and he's married to a Caucasian woman. So my nephews are also mixed Chinese and English. And if I was to ever meet a Chinese guy, I want them to at least have qualities that my brother has, because he's very strong. He doesn't like girls that are cutesy ditzy, and it's that whole, what do they call it? It's Japanese, no, kawaii. This is it, kawaii. And they make these silly noises like, oh, come on. It's like, stop being so whiny. That's just not me. So
what?
I don't deliberately set out not to date Chinese guys. They just don't attract. They don't attract to me, and I don't attract them. I mean, I'm not attracted to them.
Yeah.
So most of my boyfriends have been English. But again, I like minds. I'm what you call kind of like a sapio. I like intelligence. I am attracted to people that are kind and have a certain drive in them. I like men that are not necessarily ambitious or driven, but at least self-aware of and have direction in where they're going in life. And they, most importantly,
know their purpose, life purpose.
This is it, and they have to add value to my life.
A real man will know the life purpose.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because they need to add something to my life. When I talk about value, it's not about adding financial value. That's okay. I'm financially very, very comfortable. I need a man that I can feel like, he can look after me physically, mentally, emotionally, and he can sustain that long term.
What if a Chinese guy can do all of that?
Then I'll marry him.
Okay.
In an instant. In an instant. No, and this is what I'm not saying that Chinese men can't. I'm just saying that the Chinese men that I come across
same.
in the UK right now,
I tell you,
don't have that.
Yeah, and then most of the people I've dated, people probably won't, I don't know if people know, but viewers, but they mainly have been black men. I have dated Afghan, Latinos, but it all comes down to what they all have in common is the masculinity.
Yeah,
that I really
it's
want.
important.
Yeah. So again, it's a preference, really. Yeah, it's just
100% a preference. It's not. People have a type, and some people are very much. Oh, I would never date a whatever colour person. Never say never, love, because
I think also as you get older, the type no longer applies, because
it's less about the physical as you get older.
We were talking about this earlier.
Yeah,
so
it's less about the physical.
I used to have a type, so-called type, because people always ask, what's your type? And now I don't know how to answer that. I don't actually. I mean,
you know what you're attracted to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what you're attracted to.
So the type is masculine men.
Yeah.
That's what I'm attracted to. Masculine men who
this
is
is
driven,
Yeah.
ambitious,
Yeah.
have know what they who knows how to hold space and knows to provide and make me feel safe, patient.
Yeah. Needs to bring something to the table.
Yeah.
Right, that I don't already have or possess, or something money can't buy. And so as you get older, yeah, absolutely. As you get older,
The physical doesn't.
It's less important.
Yeah.
It's important because let's not lie.
Yeah.
You still need to be attracted,
attracted,
to it, right? Physically, even on date, like you're not on the dating apps. You just said earlier. I am on dating apps, and half the people that I swipe right on are people that I would definitely am attracted to in real life.
Right saying yes.
Right, it's because
Okay. So here,
she's a complete novice. So right is to go yes, and then left is like absolutely no.
Okay.
But there are people that I meet in real life, that I've dated in real life, that I'm telling you now on a dating app, I would have swiped left. I would have not gone for.
Like with these dating apps, I just feel like it's purely based on physical attraction.
Yeah.
And there's another thing what I didn't say. I want also a man with substance. Substance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, But talking about that though, right? About the physical attraction. I don't know about your parents. I do think it's also a culture thing. Chinese culture. My parents, especially my mum, care so much about the physical attributes because she always goes to me, "You can do better than this." Or not just me, just in general. He was, "Why are they two together? So and so. Oh my God, why are they together? Oh, they don't suit. So and so. She's quite tall. Why is she with this guy that's not as tall? It's always about the physical. Yeah. So I don't know if it's the Chinese culture or just
what it is again what other people think.
So Chinese people really care what people think.
They are in their heads. They want you to step out with someone that other people are going to be like, wow, he's cute, or wow, he's very, he's doing so, he's so intelligent. Yeah. Wow, he earns so much money, and these are things that, as a parent, is something that as a parent, now that I am a mum myself, I can kind of resonate with firsthand, because I know that if you met someone, if I was your mum, and I know that you met someone who you might not necessarily be completely attracted to, but it's got the looks, but in my mind, that person's good enough for you, then I can safely hand you over to that person because that person can look after you in my place. Yeah. I'm still going to be there, but actually, your time to go, babe. You found someone who I think is good enough for you, who I said in my, I'm Chinese now, but like when you step out with him, people are going to be very good and not and judge positively.
Yeah, and
that makes me happy.
Yeah, so dating, for example, like you mainly date Caucasian guys. Do you feel like there's a culture clash?
Yes and no. There are some guys I've been with that that want to learn about the culture, are very open to learning. So, if I've invited them to like an event at my family's house, like my auntie's or a birthday or whatever, they want to learn about, it's Chinese New Year, why are we celebrating? What is this in aid of? What is this? They want to learn about all of that. They want to understand, especially with my parents who are very good at saving money, but I said to him, this is no joke. Chinese people are very good at saving money. Right. Well, it's very savvy.
Not me.
They're very westernized. I'm very financial savvy. Yeah. But jokes aside, there have been guys that I've dated that's been like, why do you need to do that? What does that mean?
I find that's really disrespectful. You know what I don't like is when people not just Chinese people, as in, let's say foreigners, like they have a so-called foreign name, right? And when people can't say the name properly, and they'd be like, and then, for example, let's say Puichi, your name, right? Yeah. People, let's say someone say, I can't say, how do you say it? And then then you say, just call me Pui. Yeah. Because it's easier. But the thing is, I don't like that because I always say to people, don't give them an easier version,
Yeah.
because that's your name, that's your identity. They should have
that is true, actually.
They should have the respect and the effort to say your name and respect you, because it's your identity. Why?
That is true.
Why simplify, just to make it easier for that person because they don't have the respect to say it properly? So, unless, however, if your friends, they'll be like, they call it for short, Pui, that's different.
They
You know
just
what I mean?
call me Pooch
Yeah.
or P. Someone's so lazy, just call me P.
Because I remember, like, in my old workplace, and then this guy, I think he was Romanian or something, and his name was Yono, and this guy was like, Yono. Oh, how do you say? Is that an easy way to say it? And the guy was like, oh, just call me John because that's what it means in English. It's the same thing. And I'm just like, no,
Okay.
don't do that.
Okay,
That's your name.
You're not even.
Respect yourself. Respect your name.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
that is a little bit gone a bit too like.
Yeah.
You're not even saying call me Yon or whatever. You're saying call me John.
Yeah.
Just make it easy for you. Call
Yeah.
me the English version of my name.
And I always say, let's say it's a French name or whatever, another country name. I always try to say it in that accent.
Yeah, you
I
do.
love it. I would try to.
Well, especially if it's a French name, isn't it? Because
yeah,
you just
like-
know it's going to sound so much better.
For example, if it's from
Like Francois.
Yeah. Oh my God, I literally had that name in my head.
Pierre.
And then, or like, let's say Francisco. English, you would say Francisco.
Yeah.
Francisco.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, say it like that.
Yeah.
It has that flavour to it.
It's like when you say English, Francesca. It's like Francesca. And it's like,
Francesca.
it just sounds so much better,
Yeah.
right? No, but you're not, but then, I had a friend who actually was Spanish and his name was Javier. So spelled Javier, right. So I'll be like, Javier. And every time I said it, I'll be like, Javier. And he goes to me, do you know how rude that is sometimes when you do that? Because you're almost like mimicking like Javier, like how a Spanish a person would say my name. I'm like, didn't really think about that. So now I'm just like, Javier. Javier.
So she saw it differently.
Yeah, he saw it differently.
Oh, sorry,
he was
saw
like,
it,
he was like, because every time I did it, I was like, Javier. And he was like, that's, why are you taking offence to it though? He was like, I don't know, but it's like every time you make that movement, it's like, that's how my mum would say it, Like,
Talk about that, right? How do you feel with someone like, I get it, some people trying to make the effort, they'd be like, oh, shishi. When they see, oh, shishi,
I'm like, why are you doing that for?
yeah, same, like, I'm like, is that trying to impress me? Or, I don't know, sometimes I'm just like, there's no need to try to speak Chinese.
Yeah.
I appreciate
I
you
find
trying
a little
to-
bit, yeah, I do.
It's
Because
a bit weird to me.
not only that though, how can you just assume that I speak Mandarin?
Yeah.
When in fact, I actually speak Cantonese. I don't actually know Mandarin. I probably
Yeah.
I know what sheshe is. I mean,
Yeah.
but how can you just sit there and assume, because I'm Chinese, I definitely speak Mandarin?
Yeah.
I speak Cantonese. Like, at least if you're going to do it properly. If you're going to say thank you to me, at least do it in my actual language.
Yeah.
Or then if you're not sure, don't do it at all. Just say thank you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's one of those things, isn't it? That people it's hard to get things right. Because even with names, if I'm not sure, I just say to people, I'm really sorry. I'm gonna get your name wrong, I know.
I used to
and-
I used to ask them how, like, say it again, so I'd write enough like phonetics, so then I know, and then I'd be like, okay, and then I can get it right like that, because I think it's just respect.
It is.
Yeah.
Because the other day, I mean, at the award ceremony when I won the award the other week, the guy, before he announced my name, it took me a while to think that he actually said my name, because he went Puichi Ho. I was like, and I sat there and I was like, and my friend went, Pooch, you've won an award, go up and get it. And I went, did he call me or did he call someone else? Because mine is Puichi How. And they call me Puichi Ho.
How do you spell your surname?
H-A-U.
How does that?
How do you even get a ho? But the way he said it was like Puichi Ho. So my friend was like, he just called you a ho. And I was like, but yeah, I mean, I understand if you try to phonetically say someone's name and get it wrong, because at least you've tried. But like you said, it's like a H-A-U. How did you get a ho?
Oh, my name, but I think my name's Cilia. That's actually my birth name. I do have a Chinese name, but on my passport it's actually Cilia. Even that, I still get people call me Cecilia, Cilia, Silla.
Oh,
I don't know. I get all sorts.
it's not C-I-L-A. It's not C-H-I-L-A.
I get all sorts of spelling. I get C-I-L-L-A. I get C-H-I-L. Trust me, I've seen all sorts. It's
Yeah.
just it's funny, man. But anyway.
The worst I've ever been called is Pikachu, I think. And Puichi and Punchy. But Punchy is because they're too lazy to autocorrect, right? Because when you type my name into a text or something, autocorrect will pull it as Punchy. Yeah. But no one, like my next door neighbour, no word of a lie, I've known her for 7 years since I moved into those flats, and she still calls me Punchy. I don't think I told her, even though I told you my name is not Punchy. True story.
Oh my God! Wow. Anyway, we're gonna wrap it up here. We can actually go all day talking about this. Actually, it's actually a really funny, interesting topic. But anything you want to final words or wise word? I don't know about identity.
I think it takes time to find your identity. All right, it does for anybody out there. I think the main thing is staying true to yourself and knowing the value that you add to other people and being confident about that. Yeah. All these things takes time, and take your time. There's no rush. There's no, and just as long as you're doing things that are comfortable within yourself and you know leaves you with a good conscience and stuff, then do it and be true to yourself. It's hard to do. Because depending on what kind of environment you're in. However, it's doable. We're proof of that. Like, you know, once feeling like a black sheep of the family, now I feel like, and I know for a fact, that actually out of all of my grandparents, grandkids, you know, I've probably done better than all of them. You know, I'm definitely the first one to win an award. I've got my own place. You know, I've done, you know, whereas all of my cousins are still living at home, working dead-end jobs and stuff. And if you're watching this, I didn't say that. But, like, not dead-end jobs, but they're all doing life what their parents wanted them to do.
And basically being comfortable. They're scared of taking risk. And for me...
This is it. Take a risk.
Yeah, take risk.
Take a risk.
That's what growth is. When you take risk, you see the big change of growth. And to piggyback on that, I want to talk about identity. Is that I know, regardless of what race you are, I don't really like to put labels, but obviously it's a fact. We do go through it. But as if you're in school, you're young, you're struggling with your identity. All I just want to say is that be proud of who you are. Don't let this peer pressure, these people like around you, make you feel a certain way, as in like not proud to be who you are. If they do make you feel uncomfortable to be who you are, like for example me, like I said earlier, people used to make me feel uncomfortable being Chinese, maybe be confused about being Chinese, then these are not your friend, okay? These
100%.
are really, these are the kind of negative energy and what you don't want around you. So just be true to your roots, embrace your roots. That's it. That's it really.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that completely. And honestly, believe it, you're not on your own. Like, even if you feel like complete outcast at school and stuff, likelihood is you're not the only one. And what I learned definitely in year 7 was that one of the girls that hit me was only doing it because she, again, probably felt very alone and insecure. And didn't want to be me. Yeah. Wonder how she turned out.
Right, tell us how can people, where do you hang out, where do people get hold of you?
Where do I hang out?
That's on social media. Not like virtually. So like your podcast, tell people about your podcast.
Yeah, so my podcast, as Cilia said earlier, is called Not Your Typical Chinese Girl. You could find me on Spotify, Amazon Alexa, Google, etc. But you can follow me on Instagram, and my handle is @NotYourTypicalChineseGirl, literally one word. That's easy. But yeah, give us a follow. Hear me talk a lot of crap and go from there.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
It was really.
Yeah, it was interesting.
It was fun. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you enjoyed this, you know the drill. Like, share, comment, all of that. Show us some love. And yeah, until next time, thank you so much. Love you all.